Hey, welcome back to Chris's Comments, show of common sense on common ground. So, something happened a couple of days ago where I actually missed out on the information, but it turns out there was a shooting that took place over in Los Angeles where a bunch of Chinese people were celebrating a new year, lunar year, and an Asian man wound up shooting up two spots where the celebration was being taken place. And my first thought was how bizarre, because this was an Asian man. For the past 2 years, we've had nothing but a bunch of non-Asians attack Asian people, and it's just, it just trips you out knowing that this 72-year-old man called Lu Kan Tran would do something like this. But it gnawed on my mind for a little while, and I thought, well, was this a Uyghur lash out? Was this man, because there was quite a few atrocities, being done to the Uyghurs by the Chinese, not so much by the Chinese people though, but by the Chinese Communist Party. They are the ones that actually wound up doing this stuff. They wound up imprisoning a bunch of Uyghurs, a bunch of Asians that wanted their own country, their own lives, their own identities. They didn't want to be just categorized as Chinese. And they got sent into imprisoned encampments. Some have never come back out. So it's very safe to assume that they were killed. And I've stated this before on other posts beforehand. When you go to my videos, scroll back to August and look for, honestly, what purpose does the communist China or communist Russia serve? That title. When you go to that one, just hear me out while I talk about the horrible things that the Chinese Communist Party has done to the Uyghurs. It's also speculated and led to believe that those captured Uyghurs have not only been murdered, but they've been cut up and their body organs have been sold to medical facilities and hospitals all over the world, which is a concern because, it's a bunch of people that not only are doing it against their will, but they're doing it after being murdered by a country's ruling administration. In this case, it's the Chinese Communist Party. Here in Texas, there was a ban on them selling body organs once these dots, although not proven, but once these dots could actually connect, and it makes total sense because where are they getting all of these organs from? They're one of the leading countries in selling organs, in selling kidneys, hearts, lungs, livers. That's quite a feed, But back to this subject, the shooting in California, it's still a mystery for right now. But I'm sure it's going to pop up as to what happened. And the thing that I want to know is, was it something like that? But then the flip side to it is, the more I kept looking into it, it turns out this took place in Los Angeles, California, where Governor Newsom declared the Lunar Year celebration as a certified holiday in California. It's something to celebrate. It's something culturative. It's something culturative for the Chinese that made it. So the next question was, well, if it wasn't a Uyghur, because Hu Kan Tran, Tran is a surname of Chinese, but it's mostly a Vietnamese name. So was this a Chinese nationalist hate crime? Or was this a Vietnamese nationalist hate crime? That was the next question that wound up coming up. And I'm sure we're going to get the answers. But if we're talking about something like that, then we're talking about a culture of pride taken too far in the acts of hate. And it's silly and it's dumb to this day. You know, it's like celebrating Abraham Lincoln's birthday and killing, a bunch of white people because Abraham Lincoln signed, came up with the Emancipation Proclamation, that came up with freeing slaves. That's actually something to be proud of. you know. It's just as stupid as the 4th of July shooter over in Chicago's Highland Park. If y'all remember him, the man who dressed up like a woman to scale a roof and shoot down on people at a 4th of July parade in the name of America. That was also in the name of patriotism. And in which case, if it's something like that, then Hukan Tran is just this dumbass hater, but where they're lashing out because of the feeling of injustice, of unjust, loss of family members, which I assume they'd be family members. I mean, I don't think it's just for his people. However, I won't put it past that. But speaking of his people, if it's a Chinese nationalist hate crime, then we're looking at something, because China is also known for treating other and the surrounding countries, Asian countries, like crap. You go to Laos and it's just this impoverished whatever. Thailand, people have better luck making a living selling themselves, because of how horrible the economy is. The Philippines has a fish market, leads it with tilapia, a very delicious fish. And the Chinese are causing problems, picking fights with them also. Now Vietnam, North Vietnam, South Vietnam, well, South Vietnam is being occupied a lot by us in the West, and we're really not hearing much complaints. The North, however, has got a lot of, it's pretty much run down, almost like the way North Korea is by comparison to South Korea. What are these? So back to, what purpose do these communist countries serve? If they're not really going to be worth a damn, So, but then again, it led me back to that other question about nationalism. This could be somebody that thinks Americans, not even Asian Americans, should be celebrating. He could be looking at the fact that America, spits on so many cultural holidays that, that this would be a bad move. Cinco de Mayo is the prime example. Cinco de Drinko. Everybody gets rip-roaring drunk and everything on Cinco de Mayo, which was a battle that took place. I mean, to think that we would actually get lit, every time we commemorate those that fought at the Battle of Gettysburg, to think that we should honor those fallen soldiers by getting rip-roaring drunk and, banging, some other guy's girlfriend or going out and looking for hookers or some shit like that, some kind of dipshit thing like that, like the way people would do with Cinco de Mayo, or even Mardi Gras for that matter. You've got this thing where, it's Fat Tuesday, it's a celebration and partying and all this stuff before Ash Wednesday, the day that you start your 44 days of keeping a promise, and sacrificing some kind of habit, until Easter. Once Easter comes up, or the day after, that's when you can go back to doing whatever it was that you stopped doing, as a way of showing commemoration to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for the 40 plus days that he traveled across the desert and survived without any kinds of luxuries that he could take with him. That's what Fat Tuesday was supposed to be, the celebration and the partying and the gluttony and all this good stuff before giving up that pleasure or luxury, all the way up until Easter to show commemoration. and it just went way left field. It went totally off the right. It curved right. It went right field and curved left, far too left. It veered far too right when it came to what Mardi Gras is now. It's no longer a Christian holiday. It's just this day where everybody's getting lit and violence is happening. I'm from the time when you couldn't go there when you were a little kid because people were still serving beer in glass bottles, and on some nights you'd get groups of people chucking them into the audience, not audience, but into a crowd, and if you weren't careful, you would get, you get injured by something like that. There's a lot of fights and all this good stuff. And then, of course, the beads thing, which, of course, we understand, we all are understanding to that nowadays, that it's all part of the celebration. But it's just been so mashed, in turning out to be such a more of an adult themed holiday, and it's gotten pretty reckless, throughout the decades. So to see somebody, this 72-year-old Hu Kan Tran, take notice of the Californian Governor Newsom, saying this is going to be a holiday that everybody's going to celebrate and all this good stuff. It's a nice cultural event, no different than St. Patrick's Day, no different than Mardi Gras and Cinco de Mayo, Well, this ceremonial celebration where, people get together and eat and drink and dance and watch performances and just, have a good time. Obviously somebody could take so much pride into their culture that they feel that this is just the start of a horrible thing to see. Another one out of my Latino culture is Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead, which is commemorating the souls of our deceased loved ones, whether they wound up in heaven or hell or, purgatory or wherever, the netherworld. It doesn't matter. It's just this commemoration for those who had gone and, went to go live a different life, went to transition into the next world, and that's us commemorating. There's a lot of Christians that are holding rallies against it and stuff every year, and they're spitting on it, calling it Antichrist and the devil stuff and all this other garbage. And that's also part of pride, which leads to hate crimes eventually. Somebody's going to lose it, and there's going to be a big fight and all this other crap, which, it's just another form of hate that has to be stopped. And hopefully we'll find out what the deal was with this old man who had an issue of some sort with this Chinese celebration. I don't know what it was. Nobody knows right now. However, it's got my attention to bring up, and these questions that hopefully will come to answer. And I hope everybody out there can take it with a grain of salt wherever it lands, no differently than myself. So that's pretty much the long and short of it. Just thought I'd raise up these couple of questions concerning this subject, which is a pretty serious one. It's involving a culture. It's involving a culture that has to deal with hate, and if they're not careful, they fall into the lines of hate. And here's somebody that's another totally different Asian shooting them up. So that's it for right now. I'm just going to keep it at that. I hope y'all are doing well. Sorry for doing these things once a week. My new job has me working, for so long, 5 days out of the week, but every sixth day, I'm just so exhausted from the warehouse work that I just need to rest. So Please don't be surprised that I'm doing only once a week episodes. But if you want to know where I stand with this Asian hate and the support for the AAPI, you could scroll back to August with Stop Hating Asians again. And the reason why I did that was because all the way as far back as March 2021, Stop the Hate, You're Hating the Wrong People Anyway, where I talk about the virus and everybody's interpretation of the Wuhan virus and all this good stuff. Starting from there to Stop Hating Asians again, the AAPI, and I got COVID again. Stop Hating Asians continued. Honestly, what purpose does communist China and communist Russia serve? And finally, Stop Hating Asians again. But again, this is all from as far back as March 2021. So, March 2021 to January 2021 to January 2022. Sorry. To March 2022 to August 2022. Here we are in January 2023, and I'm having to bring up the crime that took place against Chinese people this time. Once again, this time in the form of a shooting. Take a time to check that out. You'll see where I stand. You'll see where I hope you guys stand. If you stand along the same lines as I do, let me know. It'd be good to know that I'm not alone. And that's it. Let's just keep the communication going from here on out. Let's just keep it up. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep sharing the knowledge and the wisdom that we've got. This way, we can really prove it to everybody, especially the haters, that it really is a small world, and that we really aren't any different from anybody else. Okay, so that's the long and short of it. This is Chris with Chris's Comments signing out. Y'all take care. Take it easy. Keep on keeping on.